dedicated to making you a better fisherman. Proudly brought to you by our sponsors: The Boat Shop, 3J's Fourway, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, The Lakes Insurance Agency, One Stop Tackle, Lone Star Bass Trail, V&M Baits. Now on to your hosts, Ranger Daiwa Pro Staff Steve Graff and V&M Baits President Kevin Jean.
Welcome to another edition of Tackle Talk Live. I'm Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager President Kevin Jean, and we are a little weary. If I fall asleep while I'm doing the show, just ignore it. If I close my eyes, it's been a long 6 or 7 days for me and Kevin. We've been, and I'm sure a lot of people have pity on us right now. We've been fishing.
Yeah.
But it turns into work, especially when you're tournament fishing. It literally turns into a job. But
I got 1 day of rest. I didn't fish yesterday. You did. So I'm on 1 day of rest over here. So.
I'm feeling it too. I can tell. And I knew I would be a little groggy today, but hey, we're going to give you some good. We still got a great show lined up for you. They got some good information from two guys that had a lot of success this past weekend. And the first one, Kevin, I mean, what do you say?
Zach wins the ABA 2-day event on Sam Rayburn with 40 pounds. The thing about it is, Steve, it's super hard to be consistent over there right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 1.5 to 2 pound fish being caught, and it's just hard to get that big bite and to be consistent getting that big bite. Yeah. You might have a really good bag on one day and get those big bites, but it is hard to go back on the next day or the day before and get those bites right now, Sam Rayburn. I
talked to a guy that's very well known at Sam Rayburn at the end of the day yesterday, and he fished both tournaments just like I did, and he had 16 pounds, I think, on day one of that event, and then yesterday he comes in with 3 fish from the same area, weighed 6 pounds, so it's just one of those things. And there's so much pressure. There's so many people on the water right now. It's just literally crazy.
Well, and I did the same thing, Steve. I had 9 on day one and caught a lot of fish. I just could not get any size, and then went back out Saturday, caught a 4-pounder right off the bat. Then an hour later, I catch a 7-pounder, and I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna make a run at this thing. I never catch another good one. I had 16 pounds on day 2, made a little push, almost got a check, but just day 1 hurts you. But Zach's going to break us down for us how he was able to be consistent for 2 days in a row on Sam Rayburn. So really, really excited to talk to him. Then we have Mr. Tanner Spurgin, who won the Mega Bass event on Lake Fork with a 15-pound monster.
1547 to be exact. I was like, holy cow. I don't even know what that does. That even look like a bass?
I have no idea.
I ain't never seen one that big. I'm like, holy cow!
I have no idea. So it's a pretty cool story on how he caught this fish. Caught it on a white J-bug.
Wasn't a crappie jig?
No, sir. It was a white J-bug.
A little promo.
A little J-bug strikes again. But anyway, it's an interesting story on how he caught this fish and just him taking us through it. I think talking to him this morning, it's still surreal for him. He's still coming back to the world, and I imagine I would still be the same way if I caught a 15-pounder. Yeah. So interesting. We're going to get there. A story from Tanner, so excited to hear that as well.
Yeah, we got the ABA Solo 150 results. We got the Outlaw Outdoor results, the Poche tournament on Toledo Bend.
My goodness, Toledo Bend. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Trey Morgan, John Wayne Kennedy lit it up. Congratulations to those two guys.
Took 17 pounds to get a check.
ABA Series, the Open Series results from yesterday. We got Mega Bass results and the Toyota Series from Lake Texoma. We got those results as well. We got a lot to cover today, so we're going to dive right in this thing right now. And Kevin, let's talk about some of our sponsors.
Right off the bat here, we have, let me make sure I get it right. Yep, the Boat Shop. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat and motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha dealer and full support Garmin dealer offering you the best in electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. Stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the boat shop take care of all your boating needs. Give them a call at 318-402-0399 or go to shreveportboatshop.com.
And also coming up, as a matter of fact, they're wrapping up the Open Team Series for the Lone Star Bass Fishing Trail. They have one more event May the 2nd before their championship, which is on May 23rd. $5,000 is guaranteed for the winners in the championship. It's only $150 entry fee. It's a team event and 5 fish limit. So if you're looking for something to fish on May 23rd, hey, go over to Toledo Bend, sign up. Be a great way to kind of end the spring. And but they also have a fall circuit we'll be getting to later on in the summer. We'll start previewing that, what those dates are, and let you know about all that. But that's the Lone Star Bass Trail. Again, they're doing a great job and a well-run organization.
3J's Fourway and Cypress Knee Outdoors, a store within a store and a great place for lunch with an awesome deli with the best fried chicken in the South. 3J's Fourway offers gas, food, and ice, but Cypress Knee Outdoors offers a great selection of hunting and fishing gear. Products by Santone, Strike King, Spro, Gamakatsu, and the #1 soft plastic on the planet, V&M Baits. Hunting supplies from Primo, guns from Winchester, Remington, and Mossberg, along with a great selection of ammunition. It's located right there, south exit 127, south of Natchitoches. For all you guys coming up South Louisiana, going to Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, that come up to Natchitoches, exit off floor, Cypress exit 127. Stock up ice, baits, anything and everything you need for Toledo Bend.
Wow, Kevin's getting Zach on the phone with us. One thing I want to, I'm going to get on a high horse here real quick. You guys fishing the solo 150s, if you're backing your boat in the water, I tell you, man. And sometimes I ask, well, I wanted to ask fishermen, how dumb are you? I mean, but we got guys that once you launch your boat, you're sitting on the bank where guys need to park their boat so they can go pull their truck out. Float out in the lake. Don't pull up on the bank right there by the boat ramp where nobody can park their boat. I mean, come on, guys. Use a little common sense here. It set off a lot of guys and really irritated a lot of guys.
Needless to say, Steve was hot before the tournament even got started.
I was not in a good mood on day one. I'm like, what is wrong with people? Come on, y'all. Show a little courtesy. Come on, man. Jeez. But anyway, all right, Zach.
Zach, you wasn't one of those guys, were you?
Steve, I agree 100%. Yeah, I got heated too.
I'm telling you, Zach.
I don't even have power poles, so it was a big deal for me.
You know, but again, and all these guys were doing was sitting on the bank. They can sit out on the water and talk. They don't have to sit on the bank where we can't park our boats. I'm like, good gosh.
I was going to get upset. I was going to get upset about it, but when I walked down the bank, Steve was letting them have it. So
I was, man.
It was entertaining.
I was not happy.
He took care of it. Yeah.
I'm surprised my hooking up and tracking down truck didn't get egged on day 2. But anyway, I just had enough. I'm like, come on, y'all.
Zach, man, congratulations.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome weekend. And, you know, as I was saying when the show started, it's just really hard to be consistent over there on Sam Rayburn.
Well, wait a minute. I was consistent 9 to 12 pounds every single day.
It's hard to be consistent with good bags on Sam Rayburn right now. You, Walt Stevens, several of you guys that were able to do that, man. We just want to pick your brain here on how you were able to do that.
Well, you know, the lake's really pressured right now, so you have to really, I mean, the bait choice was most for me, for my success, was throwing something a little more subtle than what those other guys were throwing, you know, low profile, mimicking shad, and those fish were schooling in the grass. They schooled up on shad, you know, so I done the homework and I would rotate those spots, you know, throughout the day until you kind of ran into them, you know, where they were feeding, and
so it was a timing factor for you then.
Yes, and they were. I don't have any of the fancy graphs or anything to tell me if they're active or not. You just kind of got to throw at them. And, just keep the wind would help. The sunshine would help. You just kind of had to run into them. And when you started getting those little bites of the crappie, I guess, were biting at it, and other stuff like small bass. You were around them then, you could pretty much get ready for a good bite,
So Zach, it was both days. It was full on chasing shad grass. I mean, you was no
Yes.
there was no flipping or bushes or anything like that for you.
Just like summertime fishing, but a little shallower.
Gotcha.
Oh, that was Kevin.
Rotating spots.
Kevin asked the question. I was interested to see if you had a mixed bag of maybe some fish from the bushes, maybe some from out little farther out. I saw, and I'll be honest with you, I flip bushes pretty much the whole time. That's what I'm comfortable doing. And I was catching fish and caught a couple 3.5s and a 3, but you just,
Yes, sir.
and again, I'm a slow learner, Zach. I'm one of those guys that I'm just, when I see a bush, I start shaking. I want to go flip
I'm the
it.
same way, yeah.
But I haven't learned it at Rayburn but I saw a lot of guys backed off the bank, throwing A-rigs and I'm sure those guys were having success. I wasn't watching anybody catch fish doing that though, so I kept doing what I was doing.
Was you now, Zach? Let's jump into your grass here. Are we talking inside grass line, outside grass line, over the top on the flats?
Outside edges, but breaks were key to me. Breaks and grass lines. I think it gives them a good spot to
Good
kind
ambush
of an
point.
opportunic feed.
Yeah.
A secondary point or something. That had some good places. Hard spots in it maybe, or sandy spots.
Timing deal wise, did you? I mean, me personally, mine. Well, I say this, and like you said, I think it was a lot of wind. I was on the same pattern you was on, and we talked about this earlier. But for me, on Friday it was an evening deal, but Saturday for me it was a morning deal. How was your timing for both days?
No, Saturday was completely opposite. I started getting nervous around 11:30 because I wasn't catching them, and the ones I were getting, they weren't getting the bait well enough to to stay on. They'd pull it on my trailers and just nipping at it. But Saturday when that wind picked up and the sun come out for just a second, I really started focusing on my primary areas, and they started feeding.
Yeah.
How many spots are we running, Zach?
Man, I had maybe 8, but
Gotcha.
they were just short stretches, and I would rotate them. I hit them 3 or 4 times a day.
Zach was not an A-rig, a Carolina rig. Was it did you throw it at all on those type of schools?
No, sir. Primarily, it was a V&M swim jig and with a Thundersat Shad trailer, and then a spin head. I take a 1/4-ounce spin head and put that Thundershad on the back of it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't throw any kind of soft plastics. I was moving constantly.
Yeah. I heard white was a primary color for a lot of guys throwing the A-rigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an A-rig guy. I haven't learned that trick yet, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same. Small profile, like subtle,
Right.
help me.
Zach, what practice wise? How did practice go for you? Did you feel really good? Going into it?
Yeah, I was catching them pretty good. Even though the pros weren't catching them, I still felt like I could go move around with all the boats and was still on some fish. So I was pretty pleased with that. So I knew I had the right kind of bait selection, kind of was doing the right thing, but I wasn't catching very much size. And I don't know if those fish might have pushed, maybe on Thursday evening, but Friday, I really started catching some nice quality fish out of those certain areas.
Did you have some of the MLF guys fish in your areas? I mean, was that a problem for you?
Oh, no, they were close, and we kind of just worked together with all the other anglers out there. I'd let them go through the spot or, get behind them. It really didn't seem to affect them.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Did you fish yesterday, Zach?
Oh, no, sir. No, I
Dang.
had some chores to catch up on.
Dang, wins $13,000 and takes a day off, Steve.
Oh, hey, I'd have taken a day off. If I'd had a choice. They almost canceled yesterday, Zach. I was in it, the ABA Open Series, and
Yes, sir.
that wind was coming dead out of the north. It was howling about 20. It was. I really was thinking because he did come on the intercom and said, "Hey, I'm looking to either cancel or I'm waiting to see if this thing dies." And of course, it did die down just enough at takeoff at daylight, which is common. Things settle down a little bit, and then all of a sudden it picked back up about 30 minutes later, and
unloading and loading was pretty hard.
Well, the main lake guys, those open there, they got blown off. I mean, a lot of them, everybody was on the bank. Everybody was flipping bushes or, inside edge of the grass at least. And
yes, sir.
It kind of put everybody on top of each other a little bit, but you expected that. You knew going in it would be like that. So,
Zach, let me pick your brain here on Sam Rayburn. I know you've been on it quite a bit this year. Where are we at with the spawning phase here? How many you think have moved? How many groups have you think have moved up and still to come? Where do you think we're at here?
Man, I'm no expert, but I know we had some good pushes in February, and I know that this weekend was a good push. And I'm a guy that firm believer that they spawn in April. That's when you're full on spawning. So we're getting close.
Yeah, we're definitely. So I felt like
people may argue with me,
right.
about that, but I feel like the main spawning deal will be here these next few weeks.
I felt like there were some made a push this past week, but I really felt like we were in between phases there. In groups anyway.
I agree with that too.
And like I said, I was catching not the same fish you were, but I was on the same pattern you were. Yeah. And, I had a lot of mix. I had some pre-spawn and I had some post-spawn.
Yes, I did too. I did as well, yeah. And I'm not saying the push. I was talking about pushing them to where they're locked on beds. They might have pushed them.
They're pushing more up,
the
though.
Middle of the drains or creeks to the good stuff.
Right. Well, and we interviewed Marty Stone. Had Marty on with us, MLF, co-host, and the Friday before last week, and he was talking. We were really, and Kevin and I were excited, getting ready to go to Rayburn because we really felt like this was going to be the week that we couldn't have timed this any better. And there was not only were we a little disappointed, but the MLF guys were really disappointed because there's a lot of those guys struggled big time. And it was not what we were expecting.
I think it threw those guys a hard curveball. You're coming to a lake and you don't really know the lake, and you're expecting it to just be a whack fest in practice, and all of a sudden you're not catching them. They can't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
they can't talk to amongst one another. So I think it threw them a hard curveball. So that was tough.
That's tough to deal with. Yeah.
It is.
Especially with that mindset that they're going to be up there.
Yeah.
Zach, congratulations, man. Again, job well done. Hopefully you can, as summer gets here, I guess more and more guys will start to, pull offshore a little bit. And but it's Rayburn, and for some reason, Rayburn I've always wondered why Rayburn fishes so much different than Toledo Bend, but it really does. But both lakes, Toledo Bend and Rayburn, have both starting to show out a little bit. Toledo Bend showed out this weekend.
Absolutely.
And
so. Yep. It was due too. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And so.
Well, Zach, congratulations, man. Great win. No, it's a huge win for you. One of your biggest or the biggest you've ever won. Tell your dad and Ryan Pinkston they're going to step their game up.
That's right. I'll tell them.
All right, Zach. Thanks, man.
Thank y'all. Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, Zac Clark, he had 2 good days, total of 40 pounds, 37 ounces. That ain't bad, Kev.
No, it's not. And you watch Zach. Remember that name. He's coming on. He's fixing to open some eyes up, no doubt about it.
And just kind of running down the list here, Walt Stevens finished second behind Zach. He had a total of 36.49. Trey Bales from Eros, Louisiana, had finished third for 31.35. Justin Morton from Etole, Texas, had 30.06. And Andrew McCluss from Silsbee had 29.97 for third. So congratulations, those top 5 guys. Job well done.
Yeah, it was, Steve. For the amount of the good anglers, Sam Rayburn guys, in that tournament this past weekend to come away with a good finish. Congratulations to those guys for sure.
Yep. All right. So moving right along, let's see here.
Got a couple more sponsors we want to give a shout out to right off the bat here. Pride Rods, custom rods built in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler, constructed with the finest North Fork composite blank by Mr. Gary Loomis. They carry a complete line of spinning and casting rods for both freshwater and saltwater. Pride Rods pass not only the eye test, but performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up and try it out for yourself. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040.
And Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. If you're headed for Toledo Bend or even Sam Rayburn, hey, stop by and see Keith and Ben Matsubu, as they'll give you plenty of information. They have the great selection of bait and tackle from all the major brands, anything you want. A lot of time, Keith has things that other people don't have too, and he does a great job of keeping his shelves stocked and fully loaded at all times. So if you're looking for a great place on your way to Toledo Bend, when you cross that Pendleton Bridge, you'll see Keith's Tackle right there on your left. Make sure to pull in. Tell them Tackle Talk Live sent you.
Last but not least, the Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance need for 25 plus years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, recreational vehicle, life, health, and commercial insurance. The owner, Clark Moore, is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs as a boat owner and wants to be your go-to guy for insurance needs. Give them a call or a free quote. The agency is located at 805 Southeast Stalling Suite 3 in Nacogdoches. Give them a call at 936-205-4467.
And on the phone, we have the latest millionaire from Megabass. We've got the man who, Kevin, I don't even know what a 15-pound fish would even look like. But Tanner Spurgeon was the winner of the Mega Bass event, Bass Champs event at Lake Fork, Texas. And Tanner, man, we got to hear the story. I know there's a story behind this.
Oh, yeah. It's still fresh on the mind. I think it's still just kind of setting in, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Insane.
My first question, was it a bedfish?
Yes, sir. I believe it was. Never could really see her, but yeah, I guess I caught her off a bed.
Take us through that moment, Tanner. I've kind of heard the story from several people on how it went. I want to hear your version. Tell us the story of how it went down.
Yeah. So I've been at Fork. I went out Friday, and we had fished around, and I brought one of my buddies that I fished with on yesterday. We went out there Friday, and he was wanting catch some fish on beds, and so we had kind of ran around and found some towards the later in the day, and they just weren't really locked on. I think he caught a small male off a bed, but he had to leave at like 3:30 or 4. We ended up taking separate trucks for that reason, because I know this time of year, usually late afternoon, it's like a switch can flip, and it's just like bed everywhere, and I don't do it that often, use that Fork, but I enjoy it, in the spring, and so I went and dropped him off, and I was like, man, you're about to miss out, and I went back out, for a couple hours, and no lie, I mean, this spot that I caught that fish, is like there's two little cuts, and there was fish on beds everywhere. I mean, I could see 6-pounders with their tails sticking out of the water, just rubbing on sticks, and
wow,
it was just insane.
Now this was Saturday.
That was Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Friday. Yes, sir. Friday afternoon, and I probably caught 15 fish in in those 3 hours that I went back out, and I had talked to my wife. She was like, when are you coming home? And I was like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I'll take the L on this one. I ain't gonna be home till dark. Like, I don't do it that often, and it just got to happen. What I mean? Because even on Friday, I mean, I'm just I like to bass fish, tournament fish, but I know what can happen. At Fork, I was just kind of cruising the banks and just hoping maybe a big one would pull up or something. I fished Lake Fork a long time. My dad always fished there as well, so I know what can happen, but I didn't think it would happen the way it happened yesterday. But so, anyways, yesterday morning, to be expected, Bass Champs, tons of boats on the water. We got up there probably got to our spot by 5:30. I wanted to fish the first cut, but there was already a boat in it, so we went to the next one. No big deal. And just like always, those tournaments especially, it's like right before first cast, some other boat, pulls in right on us on the other side of the cove, and it's not a very big cut. So,
Yeah.
Whatever to be expected in these tournaments, you kind of just got to deal with it. Everybody's dealing with all the boat pressure, so kind of fished down this bank. Where I caught the fish, we had already passed that. It's still dark, and kind of worked our way down the pocket, but fished a little bit quicker than I wanted to, just for the fact that other guy was going down the other side, and I was trying to kind of beat him to the back. Where it kind of cuts back. I kind of wanted to get right there, beat him to that, so I could kind of playing a little bit of defense too, instead I tournament fish. So you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So we fished that a little bit too quick, probably down that bank. But my buddy had caught probably 3 5-pound fish, all slot fish. I'd thrown a frog that morning, like first thing, and had one roll on it, but I never could get her to bite it. And so we fished around. It's probably fished for over an hour, and started coming back down that bank, and I caught I caught an nice under, ended up actually winning $200 for that in the 1 o'clock hour whenever my buddies got my boat back, because it was in a live well. But, so we kept on fishing around, and it was about halfway back in that cut. We had already passed it a second time, and just letting the wind just kind of push us down the bank and, fishing. We actually were throwing, Senkos and stuff on a spinning gear. Catching some fish, and I just happened to see. It's still kind of a little bit hazy. I had put my sunglasses on, but it was still to the point where it's not bright enough to see very good with them yet. So keep on picking them up, taking them down, putting them back on. Trying to see if I could really see anything. Because I'm looking for fish on beds, and I saw a fish real high in the water column just kind of cruise up, and it's probably about 3 foot. It's like on the verge. You can kind of see, maybe it might be a little cleared out area right there, but I wasn't really sure. Because I definitely said on Friday I had noticed, there was a lot of males and stuff up shallow, but it seemed the bigger fish I was catching were in a little bit deeper, probably 3 to 4 foot, where I was seeing the bigger beds. And, so I saw that fish pull up, and me and my buddy, kind of jacked with it for a minute. And I guess he lost interest, and I just kept on, flipping at it, and even during the mega bass, I knew it was a slot fish probably, but I'm not too good to try to catch a 6 or 7 pound bass, if I have the opportunities. But I wouldn't sit there all day on it, but anyway, so I kept on messing with it, for probably close to 10 minutes, and I just never could really see it that well, and I guess I got it to turn just enough that I could see its head. So I flipped back in there, saw it flash, and set the hook, and the fish came off right at the surface. And like I said, at the time, I don't know, estimated that fish would probably be 6 pounds or so. It's hard to tell. Like I said, it was still early, but I immediately, and it didn't mess my bait up, and I immediately just flipped right back in there, and my line just immediately shot off back to the middle of the cove, and I set the hook, and that's when pretty much all chaos broke loose.
Wow. So you flip right. You've been flipping that bed. You get a 6-pound buck. So you get one to bite, and then you flip right back in on the same bed, and that's where she's at.
Yes. I never saw her. She was probably right on the edge. Like I said, it was still not super light, but the water was slightly stained too. It's just I would have never, like I said, it's just crazy how things happen. Like if I'd have caught that, smaller fish, I would have never probably flipped back in there.
Right.
Also, I would have been jacking with it.
Or maybe those beds were real close to each other.
And I've heard that, maybe it wasn't a buck bass that I caught. Maybe it was, maybe another female. I've heard that, multiple females have been on the bed.
Yeah.
Well, when that first one bit, it definitely triggered the bigger one, and when you flip right back in there, all that chaos, that just like out deep, when you get one fired up, So when you flip back in there, it was go time.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And
when you set the hook on the big one, you
knew it wasn't the same fish.
This is not a normal fish.
Oh no, 100%. I mean, it immediately, I mean, a bass that big, I don't really know if you could actually breach the water, but, you know, they kind of do the head shake.
Yeah.
And my buddy in the back of the boat was like, oh, man, that's an over. And I was like, yep. And about that point is when, you know, I was pulled down. Man, it just started digging, and went under the boat.
Man.
It was all I could do to hold on to my rod. Like, I think I supported my rod on my knee, and it was about to snap my rod on the side of my boat. Like, it was incredibly strong. You know, seeing those fish at Ivy and stuff being caught, I'd already, you know, talked to buddies at work. I'm like, man, I don't even know if I have any equipment that could even catch a bass that big. Like, I can only imagine how hard one of those fight.
Oh, my gosh.
I experienced it. I can say without a doubt that it was insanely strong, which you would, you know, believe it to be. And
a lot of times when they go under the boat, that's when they pull off. I don't know if it's an angle or what, but a lot of times they'll pull off.
Oh yeah, I mean, I knew when it went under the boat. You know, my other partner, he was in the middle of the boat with the net. He's like, it jumped on the other side of the boat. He's like, it jumped on the other side of the boat. I'm like, I know, man, I can't do anything. I didn't even look at it because I'm just literally trying to hold on for dear life. I mean, and it dug down, and I was like, it's about to break me off. Like, I cannot believe it did not break my line. Cannot believe it.
What pound test was you throwing?
20 pounds CR Red Label.
Good.
Or not.
Yeah, good promo. Good line too.
And what bait did we have?
Yeah.
B&M J-Bug.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
They use for, man, I use it a lot in different colors, but, you know, white this time of year, you know, just to be able to see your bait.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, I mean, like I said, it's crazy. I mean, I had used that same bait on Friday, caught multiple fish on it, and it just retied, you know, Saturday evening before we went to the lake, you know, getting ready for the tournament. Because that's why I like them, because, you know, they're so tough. You can catch multiple fish on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the same bait. I got that one on. I never even put a new one on.
So
And,
now take us through. I mean, you get up there. I mean, do you have any idea how big this fish is when you get her in the boat? Before the 15? What's your biggest fish to date? Before the 15?
10 and a half. A little over 10 and a half. I caught last year.
I mean, do you have any idea how big
do you have
this?
scales in the boat?
Yes, sir.
And
got scales in the boat. So yeah, I mean, honestly, that fish dug, turned, and at that point, you know, my line's in between the boat and the trolling motor. So the fish is all about to get me wrapped up in the trolling motor. By the grace of God, I guess that fish pulled my rod down so far that the angle lined up just right for her to not get caught in the trolling motor.
Yeah.
And so she comes up on her side, and at that point, you know, came up on the side, a couple more head shakes. My buddy netted her, and when he netted her, I mean, I knew. He's like, "Oh my God, it's a 13-pounder at least." And I mean, I told my buddy, I said, just start videoing, and they are giggling like schoolgirls, and
you're shaking like a leaf in the wind.
Stone cold white. I pick it up, no reaction, and put it in the live well, and they were just like, "Oh my God, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to throw it. Like, I couldn't even compose myself. Like, being 29 years old, you know, still pretty young and healthy. If I was older, I think I might have had a heart attack. Really, I mean, especially you know, waking up early. The amount of coffee and caffeine I had that morning was probably not good for my heart. I took a couple years off, but you know, I'm good with that. But yeah, so you know, like, oh man, we gotta weigh that thing. You know, didn't even measure it. But at the time, I mean, you see a fish that big, like, it's over 24.
Yeah,
you know, I caught some over that's fork. It's like, there's no question.
Yeah.
So you know, I get the scale out, and I got the video of that too, and you know, the screens on my buddy on their side, you know, and took the fish up and weigh it, and my buddy goes, "Oh my God, you don't even want to know. Don't even look at it. Just stop." He's like, just let's go to Lake Fork Marina. I'm like, what is it? He's like, I'm not telling you. He's like, not happening. I'm like, I need to know, but he wouldn't tell me. And I could just hear them kind of whispering. They're like, oh my God, Tanner, you just caught, oh my God, the biggest bass I've ever seen. They are just completely freaking out, and I am too. But I was like, man, I told one of the buddies, like, all right, man, you're in charge of that fish. Like, make sure it's good. Keep on looking at live wells. My other buddy's like, hey, man, put your life jacket on. Everybody buckle up. And we start idling out of there. And it's just the feeling, you know, going to weigh in, man, with a fish that big.
Yeah.
Not knowing exactly how big it is, but knowing it's giant.
And knowing it's payday.
Knowing it's payday, like I said, I mean, to do it on any day, that's probably the day to do it. You know?
Yeah, that was a good day.
It was a good day, but, you know, like I told other people, you know, win an hour, you know, $15,000, awesome. You know, I'm not the kind of, like, man, I'm not going to, they're like, oh, go sit in your boat. I'm like, I'm not doing that, man. I've seen enough of those shows on Fast Chance, you know, like, you know, or one of the big fish tournaments, you know, where the guy leading it, you know, he already told his wife to go home and clear out a spot, in the garage for the boat.
Yeah.
And then some guy come beat him in the last hour. Like, I ain't doing that, you know, like, so, we get to weigh in, put the fish, you know, in my weigh bag, and obviously barely fit. So
I was going to say, did it fit in the live well?
Oh my gosh.
Barely.
I mean,
like, I know it's cramped, but realistic, you know, that's why I just wanted to get the weigh in so quick, because, you know, I wanted to keep the fish healthy and everything, you know, so,
what boat? What kind of boat do you have? I know Ranger's got the split live well, and I don't know if I'd have to take the divider out probably.
Yeah, I got a 2017 ZX250 Skeeter, and that's the thing. I had the divider in there, but you know, my buddy was trying to jack with it, but I think he just gave up. It was just like, we're just go, we'll be fine. You know, the fish fit in the live well, just probably not comfortably.
Yeah.
But so we went straight to weigh-in, and that's a good thing about Bass Champs. They've always been real good about fish care.
Yeah.
You know, so they let us take her out of the bag and actually just let her, you know, relax in a weigh tank, because, you know, the scales weren't open yet at the time. Like I said, we've done it before. We actually won a tournament. We won the Milwaukee tournament at Bass Champs last year, and I caught a 9.5 pounder on a frog first thing, you know, in July. So they had, you know, open the scales and let us come weigh that fish in and release it. So we didn't have to, you know, ride around the boat with it all day, which is good. So, you know, I'm a tournament fisherman, so I want to make sure all those fish are healthy, you know, and I don't want them to die. But yeah, so I still at the time did not know how big it truly, I mean, sitting in a tank, it was giant, you know, and people were walking up and looking at it. Because I hadn't really even, I held it, but just a second, and I hadn't even really grasped how big it was until, you know, try to grab that thing out of the tank and just see how big it is and try to fit it in a bag for them to, you know, weigh it.
I mean, you think about that. You said you basically he hooked a 6-pounder. Now, you think about a 15 versus a 6. That's like a 10 versus a 2, you know? I mean, the 6-pounder sitting next to a 15's got to look and a 6-pounder has nothing to sneeze at. I'm like, I can't imagine what a 15-pound bass looks like.
Man, it's actually disgusting how big it is. Like,
yeah.
These things are swimming around the lake, man. Like, it makes you think, like, maybe the old dudes that talk about diving at the dam and seeing catfish as big as, you know, Volkswagen Beetles, maybe they weren't lying. I don't know.
Yeah, it may not be. May not be safe for your kids to swim on Lake Fork anymore.
Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Like I said, there's no telling what's swimming around out there. I mean, I truly believe. I mean, after catching that fish, I know there's more. You know, I mean, it just makes you think of how many fish are out there sitting on that timber in 40 foot of water.
Oh yeah.
You know, this perfect storm, man. Full moon, pull up and do their thing, and they're gone, and they go back out deep for the rest of the year. And
Tanner,
never get messed with.
Did Sherlink or they come and took the fish? I'm assuming.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
Yep. Like I said, the fish was, you know, we didn't handle it much. It was fine. I caught it up shallow, and, you know, they came out. I was actually really impressed with, you know, when they come out, they get the pH and all the stuff, like, out of their tanks to have it completely, you know, the same water temp, everything. So, like, their transition is so, you know, easy. And, you know, of course, whenever I pull that fish out, you know, to take pictures, they're like, hey, you know, there's already a crowd forming, obviously, and they're like, hey, don't leave it out in the water very long, you know, just we're worried about getting our pictures, let everybody else do their thing, you know, because they're, you know, I'm looking at them and people are like, hey, you know, show it over here.
Yeah.
So that, they were real good. They're like, all right, let's not put it in here, so let's put it in, and I mean,
that a fish like that, it's gotta be well taken care of. We got to get all the eggs from that as we can.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
Tanner, man, congratulations on a day we all dream of, no doubt about it, man. Congrats, and congrats on that new boat and all that new money.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's great. Like I said, it's still sinking in, but man, it's definitely a high. Like I said, if I catch a fish that big, man, my phone has been completely blown up.
Well, and at least you didn't have to sleep on the couch. I mean, you were able to sleep in your own bed, probably.
Oh yeah. My wife forgave me for staying, late Friday.
That helps.
Yeah, exactly.
That helps,
Yeah,
no
man,
doubt.
It's just crazy how things work out like that. It's like, stay long enough, find some fish. Go to that cut, not the other one. I mean, who knows if I'd ever. It's just when it's your time, man. It's your time.
Right.
That's all I can tell you. Especially at Lake Fork, man. I mean,
Yep.
you never know, man. The next cast, and that's probably why that's why we all go, because you just never know.
Well, in this event, 6 fish over 9 pounds were caught. The top 6 fish were all over 9. I mean, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is.
That's a testament to Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Yeah.
For a job well done.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Tanner, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah,
We
man.
appreciate it.
Tanner, I'm gonna be calling you the next couple of hours. I'll talk to you about another situation.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you, man.
Y'all have a good one. Thank you.
All right. Well, there we heard it. Tanner Spurgeon, man.
To say he's still excited is an understatement.
Yeah, and we've all been there where we've hooked big fish and they make that run under the boat and you're just holding over the side. And we're talking 5-6 pounders.
Yeah.
A 15-pounder, dude.
With your buddy hollering at you, hey, it's jumping.
He's just jumping over here, man. Well, I'm sure he is. I'm over here.
I appreciate that.
But, man, holy cow. Well, let's move along here. Matter of fact, we'll go to the top. Like I said, there was top 6 places were over 9 pounds. Ranner Batters, he had a 10.34. Steve Mosley had a 9.76. Chad O'Neill had a 9.53. J.D. Foster had a 9.38. And Riley Gill had a 9.37. So a couple of 8s and a 7, or 7 and an 8. Then it drops real quick to 5, 2, 3, 2s, bunch of 262s and 270s, and so. But hey,
Lake Fork's right now. It's setting up perfect right now. I've talked to a lot of the guys over there, and it's just on fire. Yeah. And as you alluded to, how many 9s caught again? I mean, over 9.
6 fish over 9.
Yeah, I mean, in one day. So.
Yep.
So this past Saturday, also the Outlaw Outdoors Outlaw Team Series number 3 tournament was held on Sam Rayburn. First place went to Mike Bond and Corey Bond. They had 26.76 with a 1 pound dead fish penalty. Ended up with 25.76. Luckily, that 1 pound dead fish penalty did not hurt them at the end of the day. Good friend of ours and good friend of the show, Corey Rambo, Rusty Clark finished second with 24-22. Third place, Chad York and Jason Horton finished with 24-17. Fourth place, Jesse Floyd and Paul Batman finished 23-06. And fifth place, Brian Landers and Morgan White had 21.99. And it took 19th place. It took $17.80 to get the last check for $500.
Yeah, congratulations to those guys as well.
At a 10.40 big bass. Was the big fish of the event. So,
real quick, the ABA Open Series was held yesterday, and basically in conjunction with the solo, they decided to stay over and have tournament number 2. Made it easier, convenient for Chris Wayne and the staff there to go ahead and have tournament number 2 for the Open Series. James Larimore from Vidor, Texas, had 5 fish, weighed 22.50. Wyatt Frankins from Corrigan, Texas, was second with 19.74. Todd Driscoll, wildlife fishery biologist over in Texas, he came in third. I actually visited with Todd for a few minutes. He had 19.67. He had a 5.55 big fish. And Corey Bono from Lake Charles had 17.63. He had a 7.44, and I think that was big fish for the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. And so congratulations to Corey. And James Kaiser from Montgomery, Texas, was fifth with 15.47. So a lot of 10 to 14-pound bags from 27th all the way up to, let's see here, looks like 7th place. So weights are real tight in there.
Expected it to be that way, the wind, the way it blew yesterday. Steve, they had the Dylan Poche tournament this past weekend on Toledo Bend. Huge tournament put on, Dylan Poche Memorial Tournament that the Poche family puts on every year. See, they had 249 boats.
Wow.
It is a team tournament.
Wow.
Awesome job from the Poche family. I heard this year what they did with the tournament was amazing. The handouts, the giveaways, the prizes,
the
food, the payback.
Yeah.
I hate it we couldn't be there, but all I heard was good things about the event, and they freaking caught them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they caught them.
Toledo was on fire Saturday.
Trey Morgan, John Wayne Kennedy finished first with 27 pounds, 11 ounces.
And I want to say this about those two guys right there. They're one of the better teams in North Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys really fish well together. They do a great job. They're great anglers.
Second place team of Franklin and Morgan was 26.53. Third place was Slaughter and Williamson of 25.19. Fourth place, good friend of mine, Dean Lewis, had 24.75, fished by himself. Stevie had a 9-pounder. 10-pounder was a big fish of the tournament. Dean had a 9-pounder. I talked to him on the way home. He worked on it for 4 hours. She was on the bed.
Wow. 4 hours on a fish?
Okay, well, get this. 4 hours. She was on the bed. He's like, Kevin, I had my other 4. I knew if I catch her, I get a check. He said, so it was game on. It took me 4 hours. He said, I hooked her the last 30 minutes, broke her off. Sat down, retied, got up. She was back on the bed. He caught her with 10 minutes to go before he had to check in.
No.
So it took 17 pounds to get a tournament in this. I mean, to get a check in this tournament. So shout out again to the whole family, Bert Poche and his wife and everybody that puts this on. Guys, if you're not able to fish many tournaments throughout the year and you live right here local, this is a tournament you want to fish. It is a great cause. It gives away scholarship for college students going to college here at Northwest State University to be on the fishing team. A great memorial benefit tournament. Awesome giveaways and prizes and everything else you can win. If you're only able to fish a couple tournaments a year, this is one you need to plan on fishing next year. They've already got the date set. I haven't looked at what that date is. It's always the end of March, right there out of Cypress Bend. Go to their Facebook page, DKP Fishing, Dylan Kyle Memorial Bass Tournament. You can see all of the information for next year's tournament. You need to plan on fishing this event if you're able to.
Yeah, amen. Lake Texoma, Major League Fishing Toyota Series was at Texoma. And a lot of guys that Kevin and I know fish against were in this event. But a young man that I say is one of the up-and-coming anglers in this region, Cameron Madison, I think he went to Airline High School. Cameron's a former Airline Viking fisherman. He's in college now. I think he's going to LSU-S, if I'm not mistaken. And Cameron finished second in this event with 39.07. He's actually leading Angler of the Year for the BFL Tour for the Cowboy Division. And he's sitting in sixth Angler of the Year in the Toyota Series.
And they're coming to Rayburn next.
Which he usually does pretty well there. Evan Barnes won this event. Evan had 42.10, so Cameron was right there with it. Billy Klein finished third with 38.10. Christopher Temple was fourth with 35 even, and Blake Schroeder was fifth with 33.01. Just to give you an idea, those sound like, man, they really caught them. No. Let me go ahead and tell you now. You were either on them, and there wasn't but a handful of guys on them, and everybody else was struggling. When Rick Clun catches one fish in 2 days, that tells you all you need to know.
But also, her practice went pretty well for those guys over there. I talked to several that struggled in the tournament, but had a really good practice. So they got a curveball as well for this tournament.
Yeah, and they probably, the front came through Friday. So that might have been what messed them up over there. I've been over there before when the front came through, and I'm telling you, it shut them down completely. And but again, congratulations to all those guys that fished this event. Castledine, I think Keith Combs was in this event. He finished 16th. Todd Castledine was 18th. Chris McCall was 21st. Chris was from over there in that area. Dickie Newberry was 23rd. Just going down the list. Randy Despino finished 31st. Congratulations to Randy. He had a good tournament. And so congrats to all you guys that fished that series, and good luck at the next one.
I think that's it for today. Got a lot of things going on this past weekend. Again, congrats and thanks for coming on to Zac Clark. Great weekend on Sam Rayburn. For everybody that got to check this weekend. Tough event. It was hard to be consistent, but congrats to everybody and Zac, especially for coming away with a win.
Well, also too, I had several guys, probably 4 in the 2-day event of the ABA Top 150 that said hello. They watched Tackle Talk Live. Thank you. And I told everyone thank you for watching. We do appreciate you watching. We really appreciate when you say something to us, either on the water, at the boat ramp, in the parking lot, at the weigh-in stage when I'm weighing my dinks in. I really appreciate your support in that. So, but hey, guys, we really do. We can't say thank you enough for tuning us in, and continue to spread the word about the program as we're continuing to look for more sponsorship, continue to make this thing grow, make it bigger than better and ever than what we started. And to be where we're at after basically a little over a year, we couldn't be happier. But if you know somebody out there that could use some exposure, have them message us on our Facebook page, and we will make sure we get back to them immediately. So
I think that's it for today, Stu.
All right, that's going to wrap us up. Again, if you want to continue to catch more fish, you got to watch Tackle Talk Live. Y'all have a good week.